I grew up on this farm and just always wanted to be back. I'm fifth generation. My family moved out here from Minnesota in 1914 and homesteaded, and we've been here ever since. I love what I do. But if you like what you're doing, you're really not working. Still am able to work with my dad. He still works with us every day. All last week it was Dirk and Rhett and I and Dad working on a couple projects in the field. You know, not every family gets that.
So the farm is ran by my dad, and my younger brother and I help my dad run the operation. And my grandpa, even though he's retired, does a lot of work still here on the farm. And my mom also helps on the farm when she's not teaching in town.
So as a teacher, I don't know how many years ago, we converted to a 4-day school week. So I feel like that's been very helpful on the farm, just because then I have the 3 days to be the farm wife, whatever that dimension might look like.
It's great to have the kids home in her home during the summer. She works for health insurance, and that's a huge deal. So, and that's kind of why she does what she has to do. She kind of gave up her career goals to let me have mine, I guess. So I thank her for that. Well, I don't know if I dislike anything about farming. You got to accept the fact that there's going to be things out of your control. Mother Nature is boss, and she always will be. You can't change it. Markets are out of your control. You just got to try to adjust for it. Sometimes you don't adjust for it very well. Debt load. This business comes with that. There's no way around it. That would be a great thing to have, is not have that. It would take a lot of stress off, but it's part of the business.
Stress is an everyday thing out here. Every day there's a new problem, whether it's weather or your machinery breaks down or something out of your control with a crop or something. There's always a new problem, so stress is always induced. First time I can remember stress really becoming a big thing is when I was driving combine for the first time when I was 8. I could finally see what some of the stress was coming through in the day when something would break on the combine or the crop wasn't living up to what we'd hoped. And when it comes to those aspects of life, and I see my dad and my grandpa and the rest of my family get stressed out, I just want to help them. So I try to do as much as I can.
I did grow up on a farm. I was raised on a farm and a ranch. My role on this farm is similar, but very different just because the times have changed. The scale of things is just so different. Like, it's just been so innovative since that day. I watch my father-in-law embrace what my husband wants to change, and now my children trying to bring new technology, or they're walking the journey together to just always be better at what they do.
Every job here is a team project. Even if it's one person running the piece of equipment, it was a team assessment to set up that job and that task. Ultimately, my dad is the one who makes that decision. At the end of the day, it's his land and his operation, so whatever he says goes.
I'm not the boss. I was probably doomer and gloomier before I was married than after getting married. Carlene's she's been a good rock to smack me in the back of the head and say, rethink that. So, yeah.
Being a woman on a farm, I think, is often viewed more as a man's world. I have a lot of friends that is their livelihood, or they work right alongside of their husband and work equally as hard. And sometimes I think it's the perception maybe, and maybe I do that to myself just because I'm like, every day what I do helps them in some way. And so I sell probably that job short just because I might not be the one that's jumping on the sprayer, but I might be the one that's making sure that they have a hot meal at the end of the day, or their laundry is done, or I help them shuttle the vehicle to this field or that field, drove combine for the harvest, rock picked for the day. Like, our jobs are just so different. Even to add to that, a lot of what was maybe more required of me is less, just because I have 2 boys that want to be actively involved, and they would jump in front of me to go do that job because they probably love it more than I do even.
Having kids working with you is a pretty neat deal. All of our kids, Kennedy and Brett and Dirk, all 3, they all had jobs to do. They're all made part of it.
Those are probably some of my favorite times, is the fact that we're always in a field together. We were always moving cows together. We were creating memories in a different way that maybe other families don't necessarily get to create those memories.
Tried not to make our burden their burden. I was cautious on that. I had somebody tell me once, don't burn them out, they won't come back. So, I mean, there's probably days I did, but we tried not to do that.
I'm not gonna tell you it's always easy, especially as our mom. Like, I worried every day that they had left, or what they were doing, that they weren't gonna get hurt. And are you sure that they're able to do that task that you are asking them to do? Because I probably think too much about something and freak myself out and scare myself that I can't always complete the task that they're asking the kids to do.
Keep them safe. I mean, there's pressures that you could. Last year we had Dirk lay a truck over, and it kind of put a scare in everybody's heart on that deal. And there would have been a lot of guilt had that went the wrong way, but it didn't, luckily.
Some of what your kids are doing, you feel like, especially as a mom, that you're like, I can control what they can and cannot do to some degrees to keep them safe. That's my job, to keep them safe.
So, I mean, sometimes you wonder if you should have them not working with you, if they'd be safer, but at the end of the day, it's better, I think. They gotta have their time to be a kid too, but I don't know. I couldn't give them money, so I could teach them how to work, I guess.
I think the problem solving come from growing up on a farm. You only had so much help in the field. My dad or my grandpa might not have been in the field at that certain time when I broke a section or had to go fix something on that header, and you just got to get outside and do it on your own. I've never had any external supports that I've reached out or been looking forward or into for helping me out with my mental health. I would hope if that situation ever came where my mental health became so bad that my friends and family would help me or make me seek out that mental health services.
I haven't personally. It might make more people go if somebody else was going. I don't know. A few years back, yeah, there could have been a stigma, but today, I don't think so. I would say geographics would be the number one problem here. You're gonna have to travel somewhere to find somebody. You're gonna have to take time off your work day, to go to a scheduled appointment, probably. So that would be my take on that, but I'm probably more apt to just go to work, because that's what we do. Sometimes my wife will tell me it's gonna be all right, so she'll put you back in a calm place.
I think I deal with stress the same way my grandpa and my dad dealt with stress. You just wake up every day and you get to work. At the end of the day, if I went home and I felt like I accomplished something that day, I would feel a lot better about myself than if I didn't, and if I was just staring at that giant workload and not doing nothing about it.
And as growing up, I don't think I was probably aware of the life stresses Dad had. I think he kept that off of my shoulders.
I think there's a lot of things that help us through our adversities. There's your family, the communication, your neighbors knowing that they're willing to help you. There's the smart things to do to cover your back with crop insurance. Those help control a lot of the adversities that you have to deal with.
Always started to try to figure out my own problems on my own, but if I didn't end up getting to one of those conclusions, I would always just go and talk to my family about what I was dealing with. That's where a lot of external support was where I ended up going if I ever needed help with anything.
There's always a peer group of people in the same position you're in. So, I mean, our problems aren't just solely our problems. Everybody else is facing some of them same similar problems. And you need to stay positive and realize that some things are out of your control in this game.
Obviously, nobody wants to ever see their family farm leave their hands. So I hope that they would work hard to just make sure that it stays in family hands.
Usually when there's a farm sold, there was a reason why, and it was either a financial reason, which is the number one fear in this game,
I definitely want my kids to do what makes them happy. I want them to be in a profession that they're going to love to do so that they don't wake up every day and go, oh, I don't want to go to work again. But I don't want them to feel like that they have to come back here.
I don't want to see what the last 4 generations have worked for us to implode it on a hiccup of just life. I've always told Rhett and Kennedy and Dirk, I said, you guys got the best years of life for college and on, and you got to find out where you want to be. You got to know where you want to be before you come back home, because when you come back home, you're committed, you're home. So you don't want to be second guessing yourself on your life choice.
If this farm wasn't in the family, I maybe would still be interested in the egg systems and maybe would want to become a farmer. I don't know if as much passion as I have for it now would still be there, because I wouldn't have grown up around it every single day for most of my life. But having grown up in a community like this that's driven by agriculture, lives off of agriculture, it would be hard not to want to become a producer, or at least someone involved in ag. I've always been told that this is something you don't have to come back for. You don't have to feel like you have to become a farmer. So I never felt obligated to take on this farming role, but I've always wanted to take on this farming role.